Hi guys, and welcome to our third and final part on early Christian Ireland revision. This is our keywords, places, and people. So the keywords for today are manuscripts, vellum, parchment, quill, scribes, the Cathach, the Book of Kells, Ardagh Chalice, a Celtic spiral design, filigree, and the Tara brooch. So we're going to see what all those keywords are. So manuscripts were old copies of the Bible that were illustrated by the monks. So they drew these amazing pictures on them. And manuscripts would have always been copies of the gospel. What they wrote on vellum. So vellum was paper that was made from stretched calf skin. You can see a little picture here of how they stretched out the skin. Now it is a calf, like the animal, not the calf like the back of your leg. The next thing we're looking at is parchment. So parchment is made from stretched sheepskin. Same thing. This presentation behind it kind of has a parchment effect to it. And that would have come from the sheep who is looking at you right there. What they wrote on these books, these manuscripts with, was a quill. So this type of pen, the quill is a type of pen used to illustrate the manuscripts. And then the ink, they used a mixture of berries and plants and leaves and rocks and minerals. They would have mashed it all together. And that's what they would have used for ink. The people who wrote the manuscripts, who illustrated the manuscripts, these were the guys who worked in the scriptorium, if you guys can remember from yesterday. That is the room in which they wrote the manuscripts. And the guys who wrote the manuscripts were called scribes. So an example of some of these manuscripts, we're going to look at two of the most famous ones. In an exam, I might ask you to give an example of a manuscript from early Christian Ireland. So one of them is called the Cathach. And this is a manuscript that is a copy of the Psalms, which is a book in the Bible. And it's said to have been copied by St. Columcille, who we looked at as one of the patron saints in Ireland, who founded the monastery in Iona. Possibly the most famous one, famous manuscript, is the Book of Kells. So this is a copy of the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that is thought to have been made on Iona, where Columcille founded the monastery. This is just one page of it. You can imagine the amount of time and effort that went into it. When we're looking at our People in History question, tomorrow it will be talking about the process of how the scribes would have illustrated these manuscripts. So on top of making beautiful manuscripts and stuff like that, they also were masters at working with gold and silver. So one of the artifacts from this, most famous artifacts from this time, is the Ardagh Chalice. It's possible that this could come up in the picture section of, so that'd be section 1 of the Junior Cert, where they show something like this and they go, what is this item? All right, and that is the Ardagh Chalice, as you can see there. So it's a beautifully decorated chalice, and it just shows how talented the monks were as artists and as smiths. Another famous artifact from this time would be the Tara brooch. Again, it's something that is beautifully decorated. So some of the techniques they used in making the Ardagh Chalice and the Tara brooch, one of the most famous would have been a technique called filigree. So filigree is like this delicate form of artwork, and they'd use gold or silver twisted threads to create these amazing patterns. So you can see just this is a little outline, a close-up on the Ardagh Chalice, and they would have been little bits of gold that would have had to been smelted down into little twisted threads and weaved together. And another aspect of early Christian Ireland design on a lot of the artifacts that they made would have been the Celtic spiral design. So this is something that dates back from Newgrange. On the curbstone in front of Newgrange, there is this triple spiral design. So what made this part of Irish history so unique from everywhere else in the world was that it melded early Christian art and ideas and philosophies with Celtic artistry, and they came together to form something that was uniquely Irish. So again, our keywords are manuscripts, so they would have been illustrated Bibles, vellum, calf skin, parchment, sheepskin, that they would have written on. A quill, which was the pen they used. Scribes were the people who wrote the manuscripts. The Cathach was an example of a manuscript, as was the Book of Kells. That's up in Trinity College. The Ardagh Chalice, an example of early Christian artistry. Celtic spiral design, again, that would be a design that was used. Filigree was working with small silver and gold threads to make beautiful designs. And the tar brooch.